Hey guys, we are here with another video on road to 2500, 2400, I don't know, in rapid. So my opponent plays d4. Why none of my opponents play e4 and make an interesting game? And we usually play King's Indian style. Jinji Hakashvili, King's Indian. And I learned that long before, like 4 or 5 years ago. And after that, I didn't change my attitude and keep playing in his style. Now I'm trying to postpone castling as much as possible because my opponent may make explosive moves in my king side. Now I'm threatening to land knight on b5. Maybe he takes with the bishop. He takes. No, the good point is that I have double two bishops, so I should open up the game as quick as possible. First, I want to tell him you cannot move your bishop easily unless you sacrifice something here. This is the first thing. This is the drawback of taking my knight. My b file is open and his b pawn is weak. He cannot simply develop his bishop. And if he develop it like that, I'm okay. Because still I can say that, yeah, you can develop it, but I'm attacking to your knight as well. And it's not just attacking the knight. Yeah, I can grab the pawn and the a pawn. No, I should think about it. Is a pawn worth it to give up the bishop or not? Maybe it's not even important at the moment. I can do something. I can attack the a pawn. I attack the a pawn with the rook. And what if he make this cover attack moving to his knight? I just grab the pawn. If he defends the pawn with the pawn push, I have nothing. So if I let him to consolidate, he will consolidate. That's not good for us. It's not necessarily bad. Let's open the center. We have two bishops. We should open the game as soon as possible. Now I'm opening the center and trying to force him to make some mistakes. Of course, without mistakes of our opponents, we cannot do anything. I remember I played one other game against this guy and very luckily he won against me. I blundered the piece, complete piece, I was up. But that game is past and we are in a new game. So taking with the knight or with the bishop adds the queen as a defender, but my bishop doesn't have any good continuation moves after that. But I can take it with the knight, and my knight can land on d4, and this is a dream square for my knight. Of course, his knight also has a dream square, but I can counter it rather easily with my strong bishop. And I should think what to do. Of course, if I take his knight at the moment, he just strengthens his defense. I can attack his weak b pawn at the rooks, double the rooks, and then attack the weak pawn. If you push a pawn, you make a weakness. So you should be careful to push the pawn only if it is beneficial for you. Notice that I have several attackers to add here, and I should be careful as well because his knight, for example, if I play something like queen d7, which I want to play right now, his knight can land on f6 and say check and win my queen. So I should be careful, very careful at this moment. Currently he cannot because my bishop takes care of it, but at some point if he can. Okay, what should I do? Should I play that? Yeah, I play that. If he plays, I was thinking if he plays bishop c6, what could I do? I just take the bishop and then take the knight. Let's play that. It's a little bit getting scary, but hopefully it's fine. First I take the knight, or first I take the bishop? I think I first take the bishop because my plan, no, if I take the bishop, his knight can run. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. I can even play knight d5. Of course, my pawn will be doubled, but kicks his bishop back. No. Take his knight first. He takes with the pawn and then attacks my knight. This is the bad part about it. It's fine to attack my knight, right? Just go forward with the knight. Let's take it. This knight was too strong in the center. If he takes my bishop, I take back with the knight. And my knight finds a reasonable square for itself. Otherwise, my knight goes forward. Of course, he can take and say check, but that's it. That's a check. No, I don't want to let him to win my knight, of course, so I go back with the knight. What else I want to do? Knight f6 is a good square for my knight. But I should also be careful because his queen is doing sneaky stuff. I can exchange queen. And why I exchange queen at this moment? Because his queen is definitely stronger than me, controls more squares first. But not always you exchange queens because I don't have any plan to use my queen. I want to double my rook on the b file and attack the b pawn. So I don't have any plan to use my queen. I don't have mating attack. But he has some mating attack like knight g5 and then queen takes h7 at some point. This is his plan at this moment, and I'm trying to demolish his plan and say that, okay, you cannot stick with this plan. Let's exchange the queens. And this is very much exchange of queens. Yes, I push the pawn. Where does queen go? This is very good for me. Yes, I take the queen, and then I should again be careful. Or I can push to queen. No, I should take the queen. No, I should be careful because he wants to play knight e6 and fork my rook. So I should move my rook away and maybe just attack his rook, his pawn. Continue my plan of attacking his pawn. And then after that I will push to his knight to kick it away. But of course it doesn't go anyway far. But it's still is good because then I have a freedom to move my king. So let me kick it as far as I can. Where to go with king? King f7 or king f6. f6 blocks my knight's square. So f7 is good but doesn't have any counterplay, right? This is important. You shouldn't give him any counterplay. And I'm thinking maybe at some point I can trap his knight. Let me take this pawn and attack that pawn. Let me attack these pawns. No, I'm threatening to take one of the pawns because his rook is defending lateral and one of the rook is defenseless. So I'm attacking this pawn. What if he plays knight c7? Oh, what's that? He wants to make some counterplay. Let's go little bit. No, let's go down. Don't let his rook to come in. He came in anyways. So my main pawn, no, my major pawn is the e pawn, so I should take care of that pawn. Because if I give up that pawn, then I don't have anything to play with. Yeah, that was a good move by him. Push and then take. That was nice. Good job. But we finally managed to win our b pawn. He instead wins the g pawn. That's the trade-off. And what he wants to do, he wants to attack my pawn further, I believe, with knight maybe. But I'm creating passed pawns. I'm creating passed pawns, and that's very good. So, yeah, it's a little bit dangerous. I'm thinking, here at this moment I should calculate very well. I'm thinking to queen my c-pawn, okay? But of course he's attacking my d-pawn with knight. If I played something like rook c3, he attacks my rook and the pawn, and then eventually wins the pawn. But I take that pawn, say check, and then attack his rook. It looks good. Let me do it. Let me apply this change. Oh, he doesn't want to do that. So I attack to the other pawn. It's not, you cannot defend all the pawns, my friend. He can say some checks, but what should I do if he says some checks? No, I have planned to queen my a pawn. Prevent his king from coming in. Keep attacking to the c pawn. And release the way for my a pawn to be able to push it. And yeah, his king cannot come in, he cannot push the pawn, that's good. But of course he may play rook e6 and still keep pressing my d pawn. But I think I'm in time to make my pawn queen. Even if rook e6, maybe I just take his c pawn. Let me push. Yeah, he has one check and then take the a pawn. Let me take this one. Because if at some point no, I'm thinking just pushing this pawn should do the job for me. Okay, at this point it's true. If I'm not careful, if I should take this pawn. If I take this pawn, he says check and wins my knight. But I have too many strong pawns. So I think I will take this pawn. And I accept that he can give me a check. Because that pawn was very strong. And I don't want to let him to win. Oh. Let me push this one. And then go behind the pawn. First I thought that king d7, but king d7 wasn't good because he was saying check at the f7 anyway. And then just go to the back rank and then push the pawns. Is the queen. That easy? Yeah, apparently it's that easy. This is a revenge game. This is a revenge game against my opponent. Yes, it's I'm down a piece at this moment, but I have very, very strong pawn. I think he should give up a rook for that pawn. Oh, what a mistake. First I had to push the pawn and then do that move. What a mistake by me. Defend the pawns. What a mistake by me. Wow, I can't believe that I did such a mistake. Let's trick him. If it takes, I say check and win the rook. But of course, you don't fall for that trick. That's a very simple cheapo. What's this? Is it a full piece? Maybe it's not. I should win the other pawns. There is no other plan for me. And he can make it a row with repeatedly playing knight c3 and then knight e2. What a mistake by me. I was so excited. We will analyze this game after it finishes. And I think I was winning. But this is most likely the row, right? I have a winning chance. I'm the only one who fights for win, of course. But this is very difficult. At some point, he sacrificed the knight for 2 pawns. I cannot defend my a pawn. No, his knight is not defended, so I can push. If he takes, I take his knight. A sail is not winning. But and if he doesn't take, if he goes greedy, because then no, I can push a5 and defend the pawn. I didn't expect to be able to defend that pawn, but apparently I could. And of course, he's trying to trick me and trying to play for tricky knight checks, and I should avoid it as much as I can, but I could simply fall for it. No, I think I don't see any way except accepting that I cannot do much and I should take care of my pawns. Let attack this knight. This knight was very annoying the entire game. Take the rook as far as possible. Come back with the king. Make a comeback. And hope for best. If a king goes to d5, we can mate d4. We can mate it. Otherwise, it's a normal game. Let me try to trick him. Yeah, okay, it's not that easy to trick a 2300 player. Let's go back. I should bring the king in. He can take the pawn with the knight and then, yeah, he didn't. With the rook and then take it with the knight and say check and draw the game. But he didn't. He is going for winning the game. So we can also try to win the game. I think in this position, if anyone is fighting for win, is me. Not my opponent, and it was a bad choice by him to go for win. Yes, go in. Go in. Oh, we are winning, really? Let's see what happens. We never know what happens. I want to put the rook behind the pawn and push it. I think he can resign at this moment. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe that I'm winning this game. It was a completely losing game. Not losing game, completely the Roish game. He could sack a knight for 2 pawns, but he didn't. Thanks. No, we push. And he lost, and we won. And we are around 20. Okay, no, I don't play anymore. I just want to analyze at the point that I told you that I feel I was winning at this point. So I wasn't winning. Okay, I wasn't winning. All the time was the raw engine says it's the rawish. And I didn't do any bad job. Good by me then. I had a strong feeling that I'm winner at this point. But I was winner at the earlier point, but I wasn't. That's cool. But yes, as you have seen at this point, he could have done this move. And then if I grab this, he takes back and then win the rook. But he didn't do that. I don't know if he missed the tactic or he just wanted to go for win. I mean, this is no way win for white. It's only can be win for black. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.